TikTok has been relevant for 1.1 billion users, but now after the Supreme Court delay, there's massive no. Got it. Breaking news, TikTok has been around for 170 million Americans, but it will no longer be available, and no. Breaking news, TikTokers panic, and Mr. Beast is trying to... no. How about this instead? Hey guys, my name is Charles Paralo, and for years you guys have probably seen me as that dude on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and occasionally Snapchat and Instagram who makes a lot of videos like this doing green screens where I mainly do entertainment news and sometimes a couple other things, making some mistakes, but hey, you know, I'm in your feed and enough people watch it. Before I started on TikTok, my life was actually not in the best place because I was actually running the campaign for former Governor and Senator Lincoln Chafee for president as a third-party bid, but that just ended up not really working out and the campaign shut down. I was doing that completely for free as a hobby. My full-time job was actually I was being the co-founder of a company called Succeed.com, which was trying to be a job site that collapsed the same month. This was all during the pandemic when I had absolutely no money and no job, and I was living with my dad, brother, and sister, who they moved back at the time during COVID. During the pandemic, I was kind of what I'd call a bike bum, where my main interest was going biking every day, picking up trash on the side of the road, swimming, and that was really it, not working. Then I began doing what I really loved again, which was writing, making just these long Facebook posts that sometimes can go on for pages and pages about what was going on in the economy, business, pop culture, and many other things. For some people who know me on YouTube as the poll guy, I was actually doing daily polls on Facebook every single day and having people respond with emojis who were just my friends and family. But then my friend Phoenix pointed out that nobody was ever really going to see it on the mass scale if I kept on doing it on Facebook, and I should move to TikTok. So I ended up doing that, posting these videos that were not very done. I still had really long hair at the time, but my first one actually got 1,000 views after 6 hours. And then I ran downstairs and, slapped my brother on, gave him a high five, and then said, holy shit, this is going to work. It took a while, but I ended up doing this video right here in January of 2021, which ended up getting 3 million views. And that was kind of the first one that made me realize green screen, celebrity, do news, do information, it'll work. During that time, TikTok became sort of a hobby for me where I was trying to do another startup that was going to be a competitor to OnlyFans. And I was actually making no money on TikTok, but every single day I put hours of work into it, ignoring the other responsibilities I had, even though I was making no money because I was afraid the creator fund would lower my views. Then one of my best friends, Raj, who I was working with at the time on that startup, just told me one day saying, this is not working for you. You are working on TikTok. You're more passionate about that. Do that full time and start making money. I decided to do TikTok full-time listening to Raj, but I still wasn't making any money. I was afraid of what the creator fund would do to my views, and because I was living at home, it wasn't a huge concern. But then I was having the worst dental pains in my life, so I went to the dentist and I was told I needed 6 root canals, and I got quoted with $20,000 in bills. Where things got so much worse was my best friend, my little brother, my dog Coconut of 13 years passed away, and whatever money I had that I was using to pay for bills or go out to food, I actually put to try and save him, which just really wasn't that much, and I ended up pretty much completely broke by the time he passed away. This was us a couple days before he passed away, and I kind of used that as the thing in my life to say, hey, it's time to make money from this. It's time to almost sort of grow up a little bit. The first few months I was actually making, I think it was like $4,000 the first month, and I just kind of progressed and started making more and more money doing it. Then also during that time I began focusing on YouTube because one of my best friends, Neil McGettigan, he said, you're just leaving money on the table, putting your TikTok videos up and not putting them on YouTube Shorts, but I originally opposed it, saying they weren't going to do well. But yeah, Neil was right, where I ended up getting over 1 billion views on YouTube and had 75 million views just in 1 month, 4 months after starting on YouTube Shorts, and it ended up being one of the most life-changing moments for me, where I was able to interview Mark Cuban, get 1 million subscribers, go huge on the YouTube community page, and now I'm starting to do better, longer form video there. Then because of TikTok, I actually got picked up to do Snapchat shows, which were doing these big programs. And just to give an insight on the money, this was actually what my show did in revenue, where, and then that's actually still around today, where, there are hundreds of thousands being made. They've kind of changed things around, so not as much as that figure, but I had a single episode on Snapchat once make $100,000 in revenue, where they took half and then my producer took a cut, but it's still a huge payday. And because that social media did give me a sense of security, where after my dad passed away, it was one of the most tragic moments of my life. It was the second time I lost a parent. My uncle/godfather passed away just 3 months earlier. And, one beautiful thing about social media was I didn't have to really worry about the money side of things, where, I took over his house, I renovated it, I paid off the mortgage, and it really became, a thing from TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat. Besides money, social media also gave me something more important at the end of the day, which are friends. I've been able to meet now dozens of people who I can call friends. We have text messages, calls all the time. Some of them visit my house, and we've really built a community on social media with TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, and some other platforms where we really do care about each other. For anyone who thinks that social media is sort of this rivalry and their views could be my views, no, it's not. We have a community. We all give each other ideas. And there is a real sense of care going on, and I do really have concerns with TikTok ending and what this means for some creators who built followings much larger than mine there and maybe haven't built so much on the other platforms. Because then now we are dealing with the thought of the TikTok ban, where as soon as Sunday this thing could be over due to a Supreme Court ruling not being our favor. And I know Congress, 80% of it voted for the ban on TikTok, but there was also a $10 billion foreign aid on it, and many people like Ed Markey and Cory Booker who voted on the ban said it was only because of the foreign aid and they wouldn't have done it in retrospect. So there are people looking to fight for TikTok and for TikTokers. At this point, it looks likely the only way for TikTok to survive is they have to do some sort of a sellout. And there are a lot of rumors with Elon Musk or Kevin O'Leary or even Mr. Beast, but I don't think any of those are serious, where I think Mr. Beast is just kind of joking around. I believe Elon Musk is, that's just a rumor circulating, and Kevin O'Leary is just a joke trying to remind people that he didn't take $10 million from FTX. What's ultimately going to change TikTok are guys like this, Jeff Yass, who's worth $45 billion with 1/3 of his net worth being from TikTok stock, and he was a mega donor to Donald Trump, and it should be noted that 70% of TikTok is owned by US investors or US employees. There's this whole talk of who is the next big buyer for TikTok, but the reality is they can just form a US division and sell it to themselves, where it's the same owners, same company, and same exact management, but the only issue is they do need approval from China. And the president of China has said before he won't allow TikTok's sale, but he's only actually talking about the algorithm and not TikTok's brand itself. What that means is TikTok right now can actually sell the brand, the front end, the user data, all that stuff to a US division that they would still own. But then when things come to the algorithm, they just license that to ByteDance and get paid billions of dollars for that. So at the end of the day, I still do think something like this happens on the corporate end or the government end, where TikTok does get saved. There's some talk that Joe Biden is going to actually save it last minute, give it a 90-day extension, and then Trump will actually work something out. There's also the Ed Markey, Cory Booker, and Ro Khanna bill. So there's a lot of stuff that could happen. And ultimately, I do think we're still here. I do think we're still on TikTok, and I think things are going to work out well. But I just want to take one moment to say to everybody on the audience who's followed me for a long time, thank you. I'm not expecting everyone to follow me. I mean, Charles Pearl on Instagram, Charles Pearl on YouTube, feel free to join there. But you guys really changed my life for a few years. You guys have made things a lot better for me, where beforehand I was broke, before, I didn't have the best relationship with a lot of friends and family. And now it's awesome where I walk through New York City almost every week, get recognized. I go to places, get recognized. You guys kind of secured me financially. And now I'm working on new projects and new startups. Have the coolest business card ever, by the way, dedication to my dog. And you guys have changed everything for me. So regardless, and also to the other TikTokers, regardless of what happens, regardless of our future on this app, we did build something from scratch that made us a lot of money, that built our fame and did change our lives. So even if the worst case scenario happens and TikTok doesn't ban, remember the determination, the grit, the stuff that got us here in the first place. Transfer that over and things will work. So I'm confident in the future, TikTok or not. I do think we're still going to have TikTok, and I don't believe this ban is going to, ban, even if it takes effect on Sunday, will lead a permanent shutdown. So I will still be here making content every day. If it takes a VPN, I'll do it. But I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram. And with that, I'm Charles Perallo. Thank you. Oh, and this is, it's the same shirt, by the way.